Hello students, welcome back. So now in this class we are going to discuss the importance of species diversity to the ecosystem. Do you think that the species diversity is very important to the ecosystem? Of course, the species diversity is very important for the ecosystem. But it is very difficult to make people understand how each and every organism or each and every species, whether it is big or small, it is important for the ecosystem. And however, the rich diversity, the rich biodiversity, it is very essential for the ecosystem, and not only essential for the ecosystem, even the rich biodiversity, it is very important for the survival of human race. We are all surviving today because of species diversity. Only because of species diversity, the ecosystem is balancing and we are surviving on this planet Earth. And this species diversity, it provides stability to the ecosystem. The species diversity, it provides stability to the ecosystem. I will tell you what is this stability and all. So it provides stability to the ecosystem, and this species diversity is very important for maintaining higher levels of productivity, to maintain the higher levels of productivity, and also to maintain ecosystem health. So species diversity, as I told you, rich biodiversity is very important, and not only essential for ecosystem, it is also important for the survival of human race. And the species diversity provides stability to the ecosystem and maintains a higher levels of productivity and also ecosystem health. Now we will see what is this stability, productivity and ecosystem health. So here stability. Ecologists, they believe that the communities, we can consider any community, any biotic community. So the communities with more species generally tend to be more stable than those of less species. If for example, in one particular community, the number of species are more, in another community, the number of species are less. So where the area or where in that community the number of species are maximum, there it is stable. So the communities with more species, which is usually tend to be more stable. Where the number of species are more, there it is usually stable than that of the less species. And here we can imagine certain examples and what exactly this is stability in a biological community. For a biological community, what is that stability exactly? Here, stability for the biological community or a stable community is nothing but, whenever if you want to say this community is stable, that should have certain characteristic features. Generally, a stable community, it should not show too much variations in productivity from year to year. Generally, productivity is nothing but the biomass. The total biomass production by plants is called as a productivity. So here, if it is a stable community, you are considering one community as a stable community, that should not show too much variations in productivity from year to year. For example, in this community, there are certain number of plants, and the plants will be giving the biomass, or they are preparing their own food. And when we measure the biomass, it is for example some amount of biomass. And again, in the next year, the productivity, it should not be less than that of the previous year. Try to understand. The productivity level should be more. The productivity it should not be less from year to year in a stable community. If the community is stable, it should not show too much of variations in productivity. So productivity sometimes it increases, sometimes it decreases, but it should not show too much of variations from year to year. That is important. And again, a stable community, it must be resistant or it must be resilient to the occasional disturbances. Here, occasional disturbances, they may be man-made disturbances or natural disturbances. So, natural disturbances, it may be heavy rain, heavy wind, etc. or some other man-made disturbances may also occur. But the stable community, it should be resistant to all those disturbances, whether they may be man-made disturbances or natural disturbances. They must be resistant or resilient to the occasional disturbances. And the next thing is the stable community, it must be resistant to the invasion of alien species. It must be resistant to the invasion of alien species. Here alien species are nothing but they are not native species. They came from some other area and in one particular area they are disturbing the ecosystem, habitat, everything. So such species are called as alien species. For example, you may have studied about the Eichhornia. Eichhornia, which is not a native plant, it came from some other region and here it is affecting the aquatic ecosystem. Likewise, alien species may be seen or may come to the community, but if a stable community, it should be resistant to all those alien species also. So this is called stability. Here stability, what I am going to say about stability is if the community having more number of species that is more stable than that of the less species area or less species community. And so here what and all the factors we are considering here, how the community can be considered as stable. The stable community, it must be resistant to or resilient to the occasional disturbances. It must be resistant to the invasion of alien species and the stable community should not show too much variations of productivity from year to year. So this is called stability. And the next one is productivity. So productivity, already I told you productivity is nothing but the biomass. So here productivity, how productivity is very very important for the species diversity or to the ecosystem. Here the ecosystem with higher biodiversity. The ecosystem with a higher biodiversity, example tropical forest. So here I am considering the higher biodiversity, the ecosystem with a higher biodiversity, example tropical forest, which is more productive, than that of the ecosystem with less biodiversity, example temperate forest. So here we are studying about the productivity, the ecosystem with a higher biodiversity, which is more productive than that of the ecosystem with less biodiversity, example temperate forest. Because you know the reason, in tropical forest here the productivity is more because they receive maximum amount of solar energy or sufficient solar energy, so that whatever the plants which are there in the tropical region, they will obtain the solar energy and they can manufacture their own food and it is called as a productivity. But here in temperate forest, here due to insufficient solar energy, the plant cannot synthesize, the plants cannot obtain maximum energy and they cannot prepare their maximum food. That's why here productivity is less in case of temperate forest. So that is, and this was actually proved by David Tillman. So how the higher biodiversity shows more productive than that of the less biodiversity, that was actually explained by David Tillman in his long-term ecosystem experiments by using outdoor plots. And Tillman, he found that the plots with more species, For example, if this is the plot with more species. The plot, you can consider a plot like a area. So the plant with more species which shows less year to year variation in total biomass. Because in that particular region there are more number of species, as there are more number of species, the productivity level or biomass level will be increasing, so that it will show less year to year variation in total biomass. I am saying not less productivity, less variation. So less variation in the total biomass. So that was proved by David Tillman, and he also explained, or he also proved that the increased diversity contributed to higher productivity. Whenever there is a higher diversity, then ultimately the productivity level also increases. That's why he said increased diversity, it contributed to higher productivity or increased productivity. So this is called productivity. So here stability and productivity, and the next one is ecosystem health. This is very, very important. So ecosystem health, already I told you, we may have not completely understand, or we may have not completely knowing how the species richness will be contributed for the well-being of the ecosystem. And already we know that the rich biodiversity, it is not only essential to the ecosystem but also for the survival of human race on this planet Earth. And do you think that each and every organism, what I am saying here is all organisms are very, very important, and how each and every organism will be contributing for the well-being of the ecosystem? Here many number of questions will be arising. See, for example, in an ecosystem, if certain species, we are losing certain species in a frequent time. If one particular species we are losing in our ecosystem, and one day if that species is completely extinct, if one species is becoming completely extinct, what matters to us? Anything will happen in our life. If one particular species, you can consider any species, if that particular species is becoming extinct from our ecosystem, does it cause any harm or any effect on us? Think. Or else, for example, there is one particular species called as a tree frog species in the Western Ghats. In Western Ghats, if that tree frog species will becoming extinct or it become extinct, does it cause any harm to the functioning of the Western Ghats? And one more question, if for example there are about 15,000 species of ants instead of 20,000 species of ants, how the quality of our life will be? I am asking few questions. If we are losing certain species, if that species is completely extinct from our ecosystem, what will happen to us? If any one particular species in the Western Ghats is becoming extinct, whether it will cause any effect on the functioning of the Western Ghats? There are about 20,000 species of ants. Instead of 20,000, now there are about 15,000 species of ants. Then whether the number is decreasing, whether it cause any harm in our life? Actually, there are no direct answers, and you will say that there is no effect on us because we are not dependent on ants and we are not at all related to ants. Likewise, you will think. But one thing you should remember, in our ecosystem, no organism occurs in isolation. No organism can survive single. Always all species or all organisms are interlinked with various types of or different types of relationships. I can give you one more example to understand this one very clearly. See, for example, if we are living in a village and there is a forest near to our village, and in our village there are different types of animals, birds, etc. Plants, etc. are there in our village. And in the forest there is a rich diversity with the maximum number of plants along with some herbivores, carnivores like a tiger. I am just considering one carnivore animal, that is a tiger. If, for example, if that tiger is becoming extinct from the forest, does it cause any harm in our life? Is it any effect in our life? If tiger is extinct, what effect will be there in our life? He will say that there is no relationship between us and the tiger. Isn't it? You will think like that, but try to understand. See, as there is a forest, you are receiving a good air or good oxygen you are receiving, so your life is well-being. When the tiger population is decreasing in that forest, the tiger population is decreasing. Usually, the tiger which feeds upon the herbivore. As it is a carnivore, it feeds on herbivore, and herbivores will be feeding upon the plants. What happens if the tiger is completely extinct? When the tiger is completely extinct, there is no carnivore to eat the herbivore. So at that time, the herbivores, they will increase their population. When the number of population of herbivores increases, they need more and more plants. So what happens? Due to their increased population, they will eat up the complete forest. So now there is no forest. As there is no forest, you are not receiving a good air or oxygen. So your life is affected. Why your life is affected? Because the tiger population is extinct. See, you said that there is no relationship between the tiger and us. But we are dependent upon tiger like this. As the tiger population decreases, we are not getting a good air or oxygen. So our life is trouble. Our life is in trouble. That is how each and every organism is interlinked. Here, there is one important hypothesis which was proposed by Paul Ehrlich. Important hypothesis proposed by Paul Ehrlich, and he proposed an hypothesis called as Rivett-Popper hypothesis. Rivett-Popper hypothesis. Here, rivet refers to a short metal pin or bolt. You can imagine it is a short metal pin or a bolt. And Paul Ehrlich, he compared the entire ecosystem. He compared the entire ecosystem to an aeroplane. So in this hypothesis, it is very, very important. You may get a question about this hypothesis. So try to understand it clearly. So he compared the entire ecosystem to the aeroplane, and the different varieties of species in the ecosystem is compared to the rivets. You know, in an aeroplane, all parts are joined with the help of thousands of rivets like bolts or metal pin. So in airplane, try to understand clearly, in airplane the different parts or various parts are joined with the help of thousands of rivets. Similarly, a ecosystem is made up of different varieties of species, isn't it? So here his comparison is exactly correct. So as aeroplane is made up of many thousands of rivets, here ecosystem is made up of many different varieties of species. Okay, if for example, not like example, if every passenger in an aeroplane, they starts removing one rivet. So there are so many people or so many passengers in the flight, and each and every passenger will be removing one rivet to take home. What happens if every passenger is taking or removing one rivet? So initially there is no effect on the flight safety, because initially only one rivets will be removing. Initially there is no effect on the flight safety. Similarly, so in the ecosystem, if one species becoming extinct, initially there is no effect on the functioning of the ecosystem. But when more and more rivets are removed, if for example in that aeroplane there are about 1000 rivets, maybe more than that, just I am taking as an example. So in that airplane there are about 1000 rivets. Initially if 10 rivets are removed, there is no harm or no effect on the flight safety. If for example 500 or if for example 800 rivets have been removed, if more and more rivets are removed, then ultimately the plane safety, it is usually a dangerously weak. The plane is in a dangerously in a weak position. Again, when we are comparing to the ecosystem, so in the ecosystem, initially if one species is becoming extinct, there is no effect on the ecosystem. But when more number of species are becoming extinct from the ecosystem, then it will affect the ecosystem. As I said, here about 800 rivets have been removed. Then later or further, if one rivet is removed, also it is very critical. And again, in this ecosystem, just imagine, in this ecosystem, there are about 100 species. Initially, 10 species have been removed. There is no effect. Now, 90 species have become extinct. Again, after removing 90 species, even if you remove one species also, it will affect the ecosystem. It is not possible to balance the ecosystem. And another thing, the loss of rivets in the critical parts, especially in the wings. So in the plane wings or in the airplane wings, if the rivets are lost, if the rivets are removed, then it will be a serious threat, isn't it? The flight will be balancing only because with the help of wings. If the rivets are removed in the wings, then it will be a serious threat. If the rivets are removed in the seats or windows, it does not cause any effect. But in a critical condition, if the rivets have been removed from the wings, it is a serious threat for the flight safety. Again, in the ecosystem, if 90 species are becoming extinct, there are about 10 species now. And among the 10 species, there are some critical species. They are called as keystone species or key species. So key species or keystone species, these are very, very important for the ecosystem. We can say that these are holding the system. So these species are holding the system. If we lose these keystone species, it is not at all possible to balance the ecosystem. That's why here, when the rivets in the wings are lost, it is a serious threat. Similarly, when the keystone species are extinct from the ecosystem, then ultimately it will affect the functioning of the ecosystem, and it is not at all possible to balance the ecosystem. That is what the rivet-Popper hypothesis says. So let me once again all these points. Here, Stability refers to the communities with more species tend to be more stable than that of the less species. And here I have given examples. What is exactly stability? A stable community, it should not show too much variations in productivity from year to year. It must be resistant or resilient to the occasional disturbances, either man-made or natural disturbances. And it must be resistant to the invasion by alien species. That is stability. And productivity, the ecosystems with higher biodiversity, example tropical forest, are more productive because they receive maximum solar energy. That's why the productivity is more than that of the ecosystems with less biodiversity, example temperate forest. And that was proved by David Tillman by using long-term ecosystem experiments using outdoor plots. And he said that in his plots, the plots with more species, they show less year-to-year variation in total biomass. And he also said that the increased diversity contributed to higher productivity. And ecosystem health, here the rich diversity is not only essential for the ecosystem, also essential for the survival of human race. Here each and every organism is interlinked with various types of relationships. No organism occurs in isolation. And Paul Herlage, he given a hypothesis, rivet-Popper hypothesis. Here rivets are nothing but a short metal pin or bolt. he compared the ecosystem to the aeroplane and species to the rivets. So in an aeroplane, the all parts are joined with the help of thousands of rivets. Similarly, the ecosystem is made up of different varieties of species. If every passenger starts removing a rivet, to take home. Initially, there is no effect on the flight safety. Similarly, here in the ecosystem, initially, if one species is becoming extinct, initially there is no effect on the functioning of the ecosystem. But when more and more rivets have been removed, the plane is in dangerous position. Here also, when the more number of species are extincted from the ecosystem, then it will affect the ecosystem. Here, the loss of rivets in the critical position like wings, it is a serious threat to the flight safety. Here, the keystone species are very important in the ecosystem. They are holding the system together. If keystone species are becoming extinct from the ecosystem, then ultimately it is not possible to balance the ecosystem. It will affect the functioning of the ecosystem. So this completes the importance of species diversity to the ecosystem. Now we will discuss few objective questions related to the class. Question number 52. What does the mean stability in context to a biological community? Option A stable community should not show too much variation in productivity year to year. Option B, a stable community must be resistant or resilient to occasional disturbances. Option C, a stable community must be resistant to invasion of alien species. Option D, all of the above. Here, all these are referred to a stable community. So, option D is correct. Next one, 53. Which scientist found that plots with more species shows less year-to-year variation in total biomass? Option A, David Tillman. Option B, Paul Ehrlich. Option C, Robert May. Option D, Ernst Mayr. It was given by David Tillman. Option A. Next question. David Tillman long-term ecosystem experiments using outdoor plots showed that option A, increased diversity contributed to lower productivity. Option B, increased diversity contributed to higher productivity. Option C, increased diversity have no impact on productivity. Option D, increased diversity have unpredictable impact on productivity. So your option B is correct. Increased diversity contributed to higher productivity. And next question. The rich biodiversity of the earth is option A, essential for ecosystem health. Option B, imperative for the survival of the human race. Option C, not essential for ecosystem health. Option D, both A and B. Here option A and B. The rich diversity, it is essential for ecosystem also, and even it is essential for the survival of human race. So this completes today's class.